am a total sucker for any food that rhymes, which is why I love these falafel waffles. They're crispy on the outside, and I'm gonna top it with a really crunchy slaw. So I'm starting by making my falafel mixture. I would just pile everything into a food processor. 1 yellow onion, coarsely chopped. And then the main ingredient of falafel, beans. This is 1 3/4 cup of dried chickpeas that have been soaked overnight. 1 egg, 3 cloves of garlic, and then I like a super herby falafel, so I'm adding 1 cup each of fresh parsley and fresh cilantro, and they make them pretty and green. For my spices, 1½ teaspoons each of ground coriander and ground cumin. I like to add a touch of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'll zest in this lemon. And then I'll also squeeze in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. So about the juice of half a lemon. So this will add more brightness, and it's also gonna react with some baking soda to help make the inside of the falafel fluffy. I can hear it fizzing as it reacts with the lemon juice. 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour will bind these together so that the waffles don't fall apart. And then I'll season with 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Okay, this looks great. First thing I'm gonna do is grease the waffle iron pretty well with my spray. It'll also help with the crispiness. And then I'm gonna use a scant 1 cup of mixture. I'll spread out this mixture almost to the edges, press it down, and allow this to cook for about 5 minutes. I'm smelling those spices toasting. This looks crispy, ready to come off the waffle iron. It smells delicious. I'm putting this onto a wire rack so that the bottom can stay crispy, it won't get soggy, and it's important to re-oil the waffle iron before making another one. Awesome. I can't wait to eat these. But first I've got to make a colorful, crunchy slaw to go on top. So while I do that, I'll keep these in a warm oven. I'll start with the dressing. 1/4 cup of whole milk Greek yogurt, 6 tablespoons of tahini, which is a smooth sesame paste, 3 tablespoons of olive oil to bring a little more richness, 2 tablespoons of honey for a hint of sweetness, a bunch of lemon juice to brighten it up, 2 teaspoons of cumin, a pinch of cayenne, and I'll season with kosher salt. I'll whisk until it's smooth. And then I'm going to toss my veggies in this dressing, but first I want to remove some of it so that I can drizzle some on separately to make the waffles extra saucy. Okay, and grab my veggies. I've got a rainbow here, some sliced red cabbage. Oh, it's so good and crunchy. 1 carrot, 3 radishes thinly sliced, and half a red onion. This rainbow needs some greenery. I'll coarsely chop up some cilantro and parsley. Okay, I'll toss this all together. The waffle smell is haunting me. I can't take it any longer. Ready for the waffles. Hello. They smell awesome. Okay, get this onto a plate. I'll pile on some slaw. I'll drizzle on some sauce, extra creamy richness. Take some herbs on top. Nestle in a lemon wedge, and finish with a sprinkle of flaky salt. That's a waffle. I'm gonna dig in. Squeeze it with lemon, shove on some slaw. Here I go. Holy buckets.
Well, I'm making a new twist on pasta salad.
But
Okay?
there is no such thing as a new twist.
There
They've
is.
all been done.
There is. And you're going to want to hold the mayo.
Oh.
This is my Mediterranean Orzo salad with feta.
Yes.
I'm in. I'm in.
Help me, Jeff.
I
Help
love
me.
it. I
Dice
can't
that,
help, like, in
crumble
life-
this.
Oh, crumble it.
Dice that medium, like
Medium dice.
Sonny did.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
small dice then.
And then put a little salt in it. Keep that separate
there.
from this.
Yes,
Put it in
sir.
a separate bowl. Okay, first thing first. Orzo. It's not really a grain. It's a wheat-based pasta. I love it. It's one. I think it's not. You don't see
It's
it a
one
lot.
of my favorite
It's weird.
mouthfeels of all time.
Oh,
a
great.
big
So good.
old spoon, just, oh.
8 minutes in salty water, as salty as the
Lake Michigan.
No, Lake Michigan is fresh water. Salty as the sea, y'all.
Yes, yes.
Y'all.
Yes, y'all.
Plenty of salt. It's got to boil for about. This has been on for about 4 minutes. Takes around 8 minutes. You don't want to. You want to have it al dente, but it's going to be served right away, so you're not cooking it anymore, so you gotta cook
you're
it.
serving it right away. So it's like a warm pasta salad.
Yeah.
then.
Oh, wow.
Okay, dressing first. Jeff, great job.
Thank
For the
you.
dressing, simple, very simple. Lemon juice, a good amount of Chardonnay vinegar,
Whoa, what if you don't have Chardonnay vinegar?
a little honey.
Well, you
could
text
just use
GZ and you ask him,
you
and then
white
he
wine
tells
vinegar
you
is
you
fine.
can use white wine vinegar. Yeah.
garlic powder, mustard, and a lot of dill. I love
Dijon
dill.
mustard, yeah.
Dijon mustard.
I think when it comes to a pasta salad, you have to really add a lot of flavor in that vinaigrette.
You do. A little tahini.
Ooh,
Or as like we say in the house,
Oh.
tahini.
Wow,
Smooth
you're
it
so good.
out.
And some salt, and it's gotta be a little bit of olive oil. It has to be vinegary. So I'm a 50-50 person. 50 vinegar, 50 oil. I don't like the 3-to-1, it's too oily
This
for
is
me.
another reason why you don't want a cold pasta salad. No one wants cold olive oil. You
No.
know what I mean?
It
No.
does
So we're
gum
gonna
up.
taste
Yeah.
that and see if we have enough acidity and salt.
So
Let's take a
GZ,
look at
what
this
made
here.
you use tahini?
I think it's a great, it coats this really nicely. It's a little luxurious flavor on the
To
tongue.
give like a creaminess, since you're not
Yeah.
using mayonnaise, that's
Almost.
gonna give you that
Yeah.
creamy moment.
Almost. Let's taste this. Jeff, great job, buddy.
Is this enough? Do you want me to
Yeah, a
do
little
more?
salt and chop up some dill and put it in there too.
I'm such a mayo girl, but when it comes to pasta salad, I'm not.
Yeah?
I like a
100%.
vinaigrette.
And when your guests are coming out, if you're serving it, just do it like an hour before. Let it sit together outside. And you can do it like in a flat tray or a bowl. I'm doing it in the bowl today. But
Right.
if you put it on a larger tray, so it gets cooled
But we
down
talked
quicker.
about that when
Yeah.
you're also serving a salad like that. It's sometimes best to lay it out on a
Yeah.
tray than in a bowl because
Yeah.
things start to settle.
Let's take a look. So it takes, like I said, 8 minutes. What do you think of that?
Oh! It was hot, though. I did burn my tongue.
We have success.
Yay,
Let's
that
go.
quick. It happens
Let's
quick.
do it.
All
Bring
right.
it together.
Strainer. This is where you do put it in a strainer and put it down the drain.
Yeah.
Normally, pasta, we've been telling people for 9 years doing
Save
a show.
the water
save
and
the water.
sell it.
Don't save the water.
Yeah.
Really
Do it.
get the water off and just it sort of steam, get that steam out of it. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Okay, this is the fun part. I'm adding some red onion. And I'm gonna save some, I'm gonna see if it's enough. I'm gonna taste it. Pepperoncini.
Oh,
A little bit of-
pepperoncini.
I was wondering what
Olives.
that was.
Olives.
Love it.
Olives
This is
make
like
everything
you
great.
go to the refrigerator door and
Yeah.
you get all your stuff out.
I'm gonna mix the secret when it's warm. And this
Soaks
is gonna
it up.
actually cool down the pasta a little before I add the next ingredient. So I'm not making it too wet. You see? If it's too wet, it becomes soupy. So I didn't add a lot. I'm just gonna taste it now to see when I'm gonna add, how much more of this I'm gonna add.
See, yeah. And you got the salt from there, too.
Then the feta.
Wow.
And the feta is gonna semi-melt,
I love this.
okay?
That'll give a creamy element as well.
Right? Oh,
I'm taking
Pretty.
two things from this, warm and
Warm.
tahini.
Yeah.
Because I use tahini all over the place too, but I've never pasta saladed.
No.
okay,
me
so
neither.
that basically is the salad. And Jeff, will you bring that? Let's put a touch more of this in. Just a touch.
Listen, this is cooking,
it,
right? You got to
cooking.
taste as you go.
Taste as you go.
It's not an exact science,
not.
pasta making.
Oh,
So good.
let's go.
Okay,
Come on, Jeff, let's go.
Okay,
Oh,
let's go.
hey.
I'm coming.
Hey,
Just shut down everything here for you.
Thank you.
GZ, I know there's really no substitute for tahini, which is basically ground up toasted white sesame seeds. But what would you? Anything or just leave it out?
You leave it out if you don't have it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It looks
What
good.
about
but-
where are those
Miso.
cucumbers going?
Cucumbers
miso.
right on top for a little texture.
Crunch, crunch.
Crunch, crunch. So you have the cold and the warm. Right?
Look at this guy.
Okay.
What
A little, would you hold that for me, son? Thank you, son. More dill.
We
Lemon
love
juice.
the dill.
Lemon
we ready?
juice, that's cheesy, yes.
Okay.
He just bleached some of my wig.
I did?
started to
You
melt.
saw that, right?
I was worried
Did I bleach
about
your
it.
wig?
I thought,
I gave you some highlights.
Now
I'll
this
take
was
it.
like you could have this as your entree. You could have this with a piece of grilled salmon,
Grilled
a piece
shrimp.
of grilled
Salmon.
chicken.
Grilled
Yeah.
shrimp.
Yes,
so good.
delicious.
It'd be so good with
Delicious.
that.
Beautiful,
easy.
Geoffrey.
Put me up, G.
Okay.
Come on,
Okay.
I did a lot. That's good. When? When?
It's so tangy.
I love the dill.
Bon appetit.
I taste the tahini. The tahini is adding something. It's it almost makes it savory vibes. The tahini is something else. It's so
Really, really
in there.
Yeah, this is
Listen,
A bone?
It's
So
punchy,
fresh.
man. It's punchy.
Yeah, it's acidic, which is perfect. You know, you're thinking about summertime, you're eating burgers. This is acidity on 10. I'm team texture, so the crunchy from the cucumbers and dill and cucumber just goes together for me, right? With the feta, but the tahini, that little undertone, it's there. It's like, it's not in your face, but you know it's there if you're a tahini person, if you're a tahini file. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
Fantastic. And with grilled
You gotta
salmon,
be a tahini-
grilled
yeah.
fish, this is like
This is delicious.
fatty fish.
Yeah.
I've got a quarter of a cup of olive oil, a cup of onion that I've let saute for about 5 minutes, just until it gets really tender. You don't want it to turn brown. I'm gonna add 3 scallions. Just let them cook for another few minutes. I've got frozen spinach that I've defrosted. You need a huge pot of fresh spinach to make this amount of spinach for the dish. Okay, right into the bowl. I used 2 10-ounce packages of frozen spinach defrosted. Okay, let's see how the onions and scallions are doing. Just want them tender and not too browned. This is one of those really versatile dishes. You can put anything you like in or take anything out. If you don't like feta, you can just do it with spinach, but it's sort of a classic Greek combination. Let's give that a little stir. Okay, next is 4 eggs. Just beat them lightly. This is what's gonna bind it all together. 3 tablespoons of dry breadcrumbs. In this case, I actually use the store-bought dry breadcrumbs. You want them to absorb a little of the moisture from the spinach so the Spanakopitas don't get watery. 3 tablespoons of freshly grated Parmesan. I actually grind it in a food processor. It gives it just the right texture. 1 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. 2 teaspoons of salt. I want to make sure it's really well seasoned. 1 teaspoon of pepper. I have 3 tablespoons of pine nuts. I sauteed them dry in a pan, just on very low heat, about 5 minutes, until they're really nutty and golden brown. So it's about 2 cups of feta, about 12 ounces. And just give it a big toss. So Spanakopitas are really a savory strudel. I use strudel dough, which is phyllo, and wrap it around the filling. So this is phyllo dough. Good news is you don't have to make it. It comes in the freezer. And I just defrost it overnight in the refrigerator. It's very flaky. So I've got 1 piece of phyllo dough. I'll just brush it with butter. I melted a quarter of a pound of butter for all of this. Doesn't have to be perfect, just lightly. And if it tears a little bit, don't worry about it. And then I'm gonna put dry breadcrumbs, sprinkle it with dry breadcrumbs, just enough, not really thickly, but just enough so the next piece of phyllo dough slides right on. If you don't do the breadcrumbs, what happens is it'll just stick and you'll never get it to slide on. And again, butter gets easier as it gets thicker. Sprinkle it with breadcrumbs. Another layer of phyllo dough. I'm gonna do 4 layers. Brush it with butter. The last one you actually don't have to have breadcrumbs on because you're not putting another layer of phyllo dough on top. So now I'm going to turn it this way, lengthwise, and cut it right down the middle in half. If I were making appetizers, I'd cut it smaller than this. They end up triangles, and I'll show you how it works. So exactly 1/3 of a cup of filling. That's the perfect amount, just on one corner on the bottom. And just fold it right over in a triangle, and then fold it straight, and by the time you're done, you'll see it's completely enclosed. And then I'm just gonna put it right on the sheet pan.
My friend Dwyer and I are giving a housewarming party for our friends, the Greenwalds, who just moved into this fabulous house. Well, it's a surprise. They know we're having a party, but what they don't know is what we're having for dinner, and we're going Greek. First, I'm doing Spanakopitas, and Dwyer's doing a nice Greek fruit dessert. I'm brushing them with butter so they get nice and browned and absolutely delicious. And then, you don't always have to do this, but I like to. So I'm gonna sprinkle it with a little coarse salt. I just think it looks like it has more flavor, and actually, it does have more flavor. Into the oven, 375 degrees for 30 minutes. These are gonna be big, puffed, delicious Spanakopita triangles.
So, this is what squid looks like, okay? And they're actually very easy to clean. Now, basically, you separate the head from the body, okay? We're gonna cut where the tentacles meet the eye. You just have the head, so to speak, but it's just basically the tentacles, all right? And then with the body, what you want to do is actually peel it, and the skin comes right off. When people are frying calamari, very often you'll see them, cut these into rings like this, okay? But what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to make a slice like this and open it up so it's like a calamari steak. I score it with a knife so it doesn't actually shrivel up. Okay, and there's our calamari. What we're gonna do is make a very quick marinade for both the squid and the calamari. We're gonna use some lemon juice and some olive oil. And I think we need some garlic for this too, definitely. Okay, I just kind of like to beat up the garlic with my knife a little bit, and then take some kosher salt, and then just kind of crush it with the side of my knife. So garlic, lemon juice, olive oil. All right, we're gonna put some of the shrimp and the squid right in here. Just let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Not a long time. We don't want to marinate the fish for too long because then it actually breaks down its texture. All right, so we have some of the shrimp, and then we're gonna also take some of the calamari. And then we have the squid steak, so to speak. Let's go to the grill. Okay, we have a nice hot grill here, and we're gonna put the shrimp right next to the shrimp. Everybody's gonna have their own department. Then we're gonna take our squid heads, and then our squid steaks. Be careful, you just wanna lay these on very carefully. Okay, well, the shrimp are probably gonna take about 2.5 minutes on each side. Okay, they're pretty thick, and we want them to be cooked all the way through. The squid heads are probably gonna take about maybe 30 seconds on each side, and the squid steak, so to speak, will probably take about 10 to 15 seconds on each side, and they go very quickly. We'll take a look at our shrimp. You see how beautiful they are? All right, so we're gonna take these squid steaks are done. Okay, these are ready. All right, now we can plate this beautiful salad here. We're gonna leave it right on the skewers. There's lots of squid, lots of shrimp. And let's just grill a couple of lemons. Straight onto the grill. All right, so while those lemons are cooking, we can take our beautiful smoked tomato and black olive relish and kind of just drop it right on top of our shellfish here. And then we're just gonna take a little bit of Greek olive oil. So we got our grilled lemons. I just take one and I just kind of squeeze it right on top of the, oh, this is amazing.
I'm Katie Lee, and here's what I'm eating now, a Mediterranean shrimp cheat sheet dinner. Gus, we're going somewhere today. You got your passport ready? This shrimp cheat sheet dinner packs in all the flavors of the Mediterranean. But before I show you how to do it, be sure to subscribe to Food Network. Let me show you how easy this is to make. So I'm gonna start off with a little marinade. And I'm saying a marinade because it's not even gonna take any time to marinate. It's just gonna all happen magically. So olive oil, white wine, garlic, and just give that a nice little whisk and season it up with some salt and pepper. One of the things I love the most about a cheat sheet dinner is that there's not a lot of cleanup. I'm essentially only washing this bowl and a pan. That's exactly how I like it. Okay. Now I'm gonna add to it my vegetables. So I've got some artichoke hearts, haricot vert. That's just a fancy name for skinny green beans, grape tomatoes, a red onion, black olives, and some capers. Give it a good toss. So I was inspired to make this dish by some of my travels to the Mediterranean. It's been a long time since I've been there, and I'd like to go back. But for now, I'll just be eating Kalamata olives and feta cheese and pretending. Okay, this looks great. And I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil down on my pan, and this goes right on. It's that easy. And then spread it out. It's important that it's not overcrowded because then it will just start to steam. Now they're gonna go into a hot oven, 450 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna get started on my shrimp. Same bowl that I used for the veggies. So I've got lemon juice, lemon zest, some garlic, crushed red chili flakes, and dried oregano. Now I like to take this and put it in the palm of my hand and kind of crush it up, and it releases the natural oils that are in the oregano and just makes it a little bit more flavorful. Give it a whisk and add in some olive oil, some salt, and more pepper. And while the veggies continue to cook, the shrimp is gonna marinate. It's important not to let the shrimp sit too long in the lemon juice because it will actually start to cook the shrimp like a ceviche. Gosh, this smells good. All that garlic and white wine. Okay, and you can see how it's kind of shrunk up a little bit. I'm gonna add those shrimp right on to the tray. And now I'm gonna just take all this good stuff that's in here, we don't wanna waste any of it, and give it a good drizzle over it all. I've got some baguette here. Put those right around the edges. And I'm just gonna drizzle each piece with a little bit of oil and give it a little sprinkling of salt. And now back into the oven. And while those are cooking, I'm just gonna take a stroll down memory lane of some of my favorite vacations. Oh, poolside in Miami and on the ferry to Martha's Vineyard. Look how little you were then, Gus. You were just a baby. On a road trip through Big Sur. Oh, so sweet. Gus, where are we gonna go next? We need a vacation. Oh, goodness. I'm so glad it's time to eat. I'm just gonna top it with feta cheese. Oh, look at that. It's gonna give it a nice creamy, salty bite. Give it a final little drizzle. With this bread. And I've got a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc to go with it. I went to New Zealand a couple years ago on a girls' trip and just fell in love with this wine. It's a really nice pairing because it's very acidic, so it goes really nicely with that feta cheese and the shrimp. I'm going straight in. Give me all that garlic. Oh gosh. You know, just taking a bite of this, it makes me feel like I'm on vacation. And one of my favorite things when I'm traveling is getting inspiration for cooking when I come home. It's like I can have this little escape right here in my kitchen. And you can too.
All right, I'm taking it to Greece, and we're making a version of one of my favorite soups growing up, going to Greek town in Chicago. If you've ever had like the lemon egg soup, ovo limono it's called. And this has got all those similar flavors, but in casserole form. I am using Orzo. Okay? So my sauce is based, Geoffrey, if you can hand it to me. I got some chicken stock and some fresh lemon right there. And my protein is gonna be chicken, and then of course my starch will be Orzo. So let's make the sauce. So we're pouring a couple cups of good chicken stock in here, low sodium. The zest and juice from a couple lemons, right? Because you want that strong lemony flavor. A little cornstarch to kind of help thicken it up there in the oven when it cooks. Beautiful. So now we got a little fresh garlic in there. Another traditional flavor of that, Greek-style lemon soup, a little fresh dill.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
It's gonna be bananas.
And to bump up the fat in here, just a little bit of melted butter. We're just gonna whisk this together. We got our sauce. It was that easy, right? A lot of stuff we already have in the house. Of course, a little salt and pepper. So let me get my starch here, which is that Orzo, if you don't mind, right? And this cooks a lot quicker than rice a lot of times. It's actually not a grain, it's a pasta, so you wanna make sure you don't overcook it. It can get mushy. We're just gonna put it all on the bottom there. We got this beautifully seasoned sauce in here. We're just gonna pour that directly on there. All right, and all kind of settle. No need to get too crazy with trying to get in there even. Just give it one little stir. Which we're just using 4 whole chicken breasts, about 2 pounds. And we're gonna season this with a little coriander, some black pepper, and some salt. We're gonna mix that up and just hit every side of that chicken with it.
Coriander is so underutilized, man. It's just so floral and green.
It really is. We're just gonna nestle it right in there.
It's gonna be good, Jeff.
Jeff, it's gonna be good.
It's gonna really look nice too. Great presentation.
Because I see those lemon slices.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do with these lemon slices?
Yep.
We're gonna kind of shingle these in here. And it's good to go in the oven, 375 for about 35 minutes. All right, a little bit of fresh parsley on top there. Maybe a little lemon on the side if you want to squeeze some extra lemon.
That looks so pretty, Jeff.
And you can obviously, this is perfect for a family of 4, but if you want to like kind of cut it.
This is a classy casserole.
And you'll see it's got the creaminess of that soup without the egg in there, right?
What's wrong with eggs?
No, nothing. I'm just like, we didn't have to start cooking eggs in it.
Oh, I see what
It's gotta be, it was simple. Beautiful.
Is that for me?
I'm gonna like
Have a knife.
Right?
It smells lemony.
That's bright.
Lemon orzo, perfect, on point, exceptionally cooked, and also it made, if you see this, it just made its own sauce. It's like perfect, fantastic, really delicious.
I bet Geoffrey thinks I'm gonna make a twist on chicken. Well, you know what? I'm gonna rock his world. I'm gonna make pastitsio, which is like a Greek lasagna. So the first thing I've done is saute 1.5 cups of onions in about 3 tablespoons of olive oil. What I'm gonna add is 1 pound of ground beef and 1 pound of ground lamb. It's the lamb that makes it so Greek. No chicken anywhere. You just put it right into the onions. And this is gonna cook for about 8 to 10 minutes until the meat is really browned and completely cooked through, and the onions will be nice and caramelized. What I was looking for is a dish that's like lasagna, where you make the whole thing in one dish, it goes into the oven, and you just serve it. The entire meal is one dish. And I started doing some research, and I realized the Greeks have something called pastitsio, which is really a lasagna, but it's baked with tomatoes and spices like cinnamon and oregano in the bottom, ground meat, and pasta, and then has this big thick layer of bechamel and cheese on the top. It's absolutely delicious. So that's basically what this is. It's like a Greek lasagna. I use 2 kinds of meat, beef and lamb. I just think that gives it great flavor. And what I'm doing here is just browning the meat for about 8 to 10 minutes, along with the onions, just until it's cooked. And then I'm gonna add all kinds of delicious spices. Now I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of a dry red wine. I always add Côte d'Aron, because it's what I like. I always pick something that I can drink and cook with. And the good news is when Geoffrey goes to the store to get me dry red wine, he knows I like Côte d'Aron. Just cook that down a little bit. Okay, that's the ground meat and the red wine. Now I'm gonna add lots of delicious flavors. First thing is garlic, big rough chop. You can add as much as you like. Then I'm gonna add cinnamon, which is a really classic Greek combination of lamb and cinnamon. It just gives it a nice piquant flavor. Usually cinnamon here is used for sweet things, but I love it in savory things. So I'm gonna put a whole tablespoon in. Okay, next is dried oregano. That's classic Greek too. I actually like dried oregano rather than fresh because oregano is so strong, it sort of overpowers it. Pinch of cayenne pepper. As big a pinch as you like, it's hot. And about a teaspoon of fresh thyme leaves. I love the flavor of thyme, so I use fresh thyme leaves. And just sort of approximate it. So this is ground meat, onions, garlic, and lots of seasonings. It's gonna make a delicious base for the pastitsio. Give it a big stir. This is gonna cook for about 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna get some tomatoes to put in. Okay, so I'm gonna use 1 whole can of crushed tomatoes in puree. It's really thick, and it's gonna make a fabulous sauce. This is a good one to use for crushed tomatoes, and the thick puree actually makes a much thicker sauce. So you always want to find tomatoes in puree. Pour that whole thing in. Get all of it. 2 teaspoons of salt. One teaspoon of pepper. That's just gonna simmer away for about 40 to 45 minutes until it's thick and spicy and delicious. And then I'm gonna add some pasta. Oh, this ground meat looks just incredible. It's thick and it's rich and it just looks delicious. Okay, next I need some pasta. So I've got a big pot of boiling water, lots of salt so the pasta has good flavor. And what I'm using is something that's called, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, conchigliette, which is small shells. You can use any kind of small shells, but these are really good ones. 3/4 of a pound. So it's most of the box. Give it a big stir. And that's gonna cook for about 8 minutes. But check the box that you're using and make sure you've got the right amount of time. You wanna just undercook it because I'm gonna put it into the sauce and then I'm gonna bake it. And so it's gonna cook a little longer. But it's gonna really absorb all the flavors of the meat and the spices. Small shells are wonderful because they sort of distribute themselves through the sauce. It's gonna be so good. And now I'm gonna make the cheese sauce. So the first thing I need to do is heat up some milk and cream. I've got 1.5 cups of milk and 1 cup of cream. What What I'm doing is I'm making a bechamel, which is a white sauce. And while that heats up, I'm gonna make the roux. I've got 4 tablespoons of butter that I've melted in a pan. It's about a half a stick. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of flour. It's just all-purpose flour. And just dump it all in at once. Point of this is actually to just cook the flour a little bit so you don't have that raw flour taste in it. Just cook it for about a minute. So the butter and flour are perfectly cooked. They're not browned. Just for about a minute, I'm gonna switch to a whisk. Just to make sure I get a nice, smooth cream sauce. I'm gonna pour the milk and cream in, whisking it. No lumps here. And then later, I'm gonna add lots of cheese, Parmesan and yogurt. So Pastitsio is like a Greek lasagna, and it's got meat and shells and delicious tomato sauce on the bottom and a nice cheese sauce, bechamel on the top, and it's all baked together, so it's an entire meal in one dish. Okay, so this is nice and thick. And now I'm gonna add some flavors. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper. Next, Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna put about 3/4 cup of grated Parmesan into the sauce and then save 3/4 cup for the topping so it gets nice and brown and crusty. Okay, give it a big stir. And then I do one other thing. I put 1/2 cup of the meat sauce with the tomatoes and the spices right into the cheese topping. I just think it flavors it and it makes it pink, and I think it looks fantastic. This is gonna cool for about 10 minutes. Okay, cheese sauce is cooled. Now I'm gonna put the pasta right into the tomato sauce. So these are the shells. And just mix it all together. Oh, this looks fantastic. Big baking dish. Any size, just make sure it's big enough. Okay, and just pour it all right in. This is the bottom layer, and then the top layer is all that beautiful bechamel with cheese and yogurt. It smells delicious. Really can smell the cinnamon. Okay, just smooth the top. And now the sauce, if it was just a sauce, would sort of seep through it. So I'm gonna add 2 things that are gonna make sure it's a layer on top. The first one is eggs. So I'm sort of making the bechamel sauce into a custard. 2 eggs. And this way you wanna cool the sauce a little bit so it doesn't cook the eggs, so it just thickens it. Okay, so just stir the eggs right into the hot bechamel. And since it's Pastitsio, I say that 3 times, I'm gonna add Greek yogurt, 2/3 cup. That actually makes it a little thicker and it adds that nice tang that yogurt has. So I'm just gonna eyeball 2/3 cup. And just stir it all in. And now when it bakes, it's gonna bake right on top of the layer of the meat and tomatoes and shells. This looks fantastic. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour this on top. Just smooth it right over the top of it. And just to make sure there's enough cheese and to brown the top, I'm gonna add 3/4 cup of Parmesan cheese right to the top. Just sprinkle it evenly over the top of it. I mean, does this look delicious? I don't think Geoffrey will be disappointed. Okay, into the oven, 350 degrees for an hour, and it's gonna be hot and bubbly, and he's gonna be a very happy guy. And that's Pastitsio.
Our good friends in town are having a holiday party, and I'm gonna take a delicious Mediterranean artichoke dip. It's sort of a play on traditional artichoke dip. I'm gonna take it warm and just put it right on their buffet table. I've been chopping up some canned artichokes. I left some bigger chunks and then cut up most of them into smaller pieces, and that will be the base of the dip. I've got a whole bunch of other things to add. Some green olives and some Kalamata olives. I've got a couple cloves of garlic that I minced. And this is a super easy ingredient, jarred pimentos. I drained off most of the liquid, and I'll just add them all in there. I've also got a bunch of minced parsley. And now for the creamy, cheesy ingredients, which I think are the best part. I'm gonna add a good cup of mayonnaise, just squirt it right out. I'll add about a 1/4 cup of sour cream. Now for the cheesy, about 1/2 cup of Parmesan, some Monterey Jack cheese because it melts nice and creamy. And this is one of the plays on regular artichoke dip, some feta. Just add some chunks and it'll break up as I stir everything together. Salt and pepper come next. And another ingredient that isn't very standard with artichoke dip, hummus. I'll add about 1/2 cup. Since this is Mediterranean artichoke dip, I thought it would be a really cool thing to add with all the other ingredients. Now, I'll stir all this together. I'm gonna put it into a baking dish. Oh, it smells delicious. This is one of those dips that really has stood the test of time. It's one of those things that disappears when it's on a table at a party. Before it goes into the oven, just a little more cheese on top, some Parmesan, and the rest of the Monterey Jack. Okay, I'm gonna get this into the oven. It's gonna bake at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes till it's hot and bubbly. And while it does, I wanna show you something else. Mini bagel chips. So delicious, perfect thing to go with the dip. Let me walk you through how to make them. I added 2 teaspoons of fennel seeds to a mini processor with a teaspoon of dried oregano, 1½ teaspoons of dried mint, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and pulsed until they were finely ground. Then poured them into a bowl, added 1/2 cup of olive oil, and 1/4 cup of melted butter. Stirred it all together, then brushed it on 10 mini bagels I'd cut into 4 horizontal slices, and then baked them at 350 for 8 minutes. I'm gonna let them sit on this rack and crisp up a bit. It's gonna take about 20 minutes while the dip finishes baking. Oh, look at that. Cheesy and bubbly and absolutely perfect. I've got the mini bagel chips in a cute little basket. And I'm gonna cover the dip so it'll stay warm, and then I'll go ahead and head to town. I think this is gonna be a real Christmas time hit.
When I think of Greek food, I always think it's casual, it's fresh, it's outdoors. It's going to be really nice. My friends, the Greenwalds, know I'm bringing dinner. They don't know what I'm bringing, so I'm going to surprise them. So I've got Greek lamb with tzatziki. I thought, Greek salad. This I can make in my sleep. So first the vinaigrette. 1/2 cup of olive oil. That should be about right. 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar. I always like to use a good red wine vinegar. Just smell it. You'll know if it's good. 1/2 teaspoon of good Dijon mustard. One teaspoon of oregano. You know, usually I use fresh herbs, but in the case of oregano, I think it's really strong. So what I do is I take dried oregano and then just crush it between my hands, and it really releases the oils in it. It's one of the few herbs I think is actually too strong fresh. Oregano, teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and of course garlic. I've got 2 cloves of garlic, minced. Just whisk it all together. Okay, that's good. Next, the vegetables. First thing is 1 hothouse cucumber, then just cut the cucumber in big, thick slices. Next, 1 red pepper, large diced, and 1 yellow pepper, large diced. I think they taste so much better than green peppers. Okay, next, tomatoes. I'm just gonna cut each tomato in half and just toss it right in. In Greece, they usually chop large tomatoes into chunks, but I like to use a box of really good cherry tomatoes. Just cut them in half. They're so sweet and intensely flavorful. Okay, that's the tomatoes. Next is red onion. I actually use red onion because I think it's a little sweeter than yellow onion. 1/2 cup of Kalamata olives. They're Greek olives, and of course, a Greek salad demands Greek olives. They're already pitted. And next, the vinaigrette.
Just toss it all together. Just pour on enough so that the whole salad is moistened. That's about the whole thing. That should be it. Just give it a big toss. All these gorgeous vegetables. It's going to taste so good. And the last thing I'm going to put in is feta. Obviously, classic Greek ingredient, but I don't want to mix it too much because then it'll get crumbled. So I'm going to do big chunks of feta. For salad like this, I like to try and cut all the pieces in about the same sizes. I just think it gives it a really nice look. So it's about 2 cups of feta. It doesn't get any more delicious, and it's great for a big party. That's the Greek salad done. The lamb's marinating, Spanakopitas are ready to bake off. The tzatziki's done. It's time to head over, pick up Dwyer and her husband Michael, and head over to the Greenwalds.
Delicious, isn't it?
Easy 7-layer gyro dip.
Wow.
Whoppa, baby.
Whoppa. Be lamb
So
involved.
I've got an 8x8 here that's gonna be the conveyance for the dip.
Conveyance?
Yes, the very first layer is gonna be some hummus. So I'm gonna start spreading this in here, but right in my pan, can you smell? You know what this is, GC.
I know, LAMB.
Yeah, a little bit of ground lamb. You know, gyros usually have that shaved meat. I'm just doing ground lamb a lot easier.
You want cukes? What do you want?
Yes, please. With those cucumbers, just make very thin mandolin hand slices. That's an English cucumber, less seeds. And if you want, you can take off the peel. I do sometimes. Now,
like
in
the
my
peel.
pan here, I do
I like the
sometimes.
peel.
Yeah, it lets you know what it is, you know? But so in my pan here, I've just got that ground lamb, some oregano from my patio, a little bit of salt, pepper, olive oil, and then I took an onion and I grated it on a box grater to just get the pulp. I didn't want to see the onion, I just wanted to taste the onion. So I've got that nice and browned in there, and that's gonna be my second layer. On the bottom here, just run-of-the-mill hummus. If you can find the red pepper hummus or garlic hummus, your favorite flavor, get that, spread it in the bottom, okay? Now, I'm gonna put this into a plate here. I find ground lamb kind of fatty.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's quite all right to put this to a paper towel lined plate, spread it out, get a little bit of that fat off of it before we get it into our dip. So then you're just gonna get the lamb right over the top. So now this is layer number 2. Are you guys counting?
Yeah, it's
So
2.
this is 2.
There's 7 layers?
7 layers, okay?
Welcome, Geoffrey.
7 layers. I knew he didn't know what a
I don't
7-layer
know.
Oh my
dip
God,
was.
he so did not.
I just can't see you at a tailgating party, GZ. I'm
They're
gonna, you know
getting
what?
better. The
You gotta
party's
come
getting
hang out
better.
with
They're
me.
getting much better.
Now press this down. Now, just so you know, this is everything I like about a gyro. You know what I'm saying? It's got all the things that I like in it, okay? So you're gonna press that down. Over the top of that, feta cheese that you crumble yourself. You can get
Yes.
it pre-crumbled, but just crumble it yourself. Butter
I'm
texture.
with you on that.
Hold on, that's
Sonny.
3.
Yeah, that's 3. Gonna move that around in there.
This looks
okay?
delicious.
It's so good, okay?
Oh,
Tomatoes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just get them over the top.
Smart
So
layering.
good this time of year.
This is basically lasagna.
Yeah, it is. Now, some of our cucumbers. And then, you know, I like to make sure if you're gonna scoop and dip,
I love that you slice them instead of dice them.
well,
That's a good turn.
you can dice as well. It depends on how you want to eat it. Sometimes I'll make this,
It looks
and I'll
better
just
like
put this
that,
out
right?
on the. Well, I'm gonna cover it up.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'll put it out on the table, and it's just kind of like get your pita pocket and fill it up. But I'm gonna send this over there with some chips, and it's good to spoon out. Just make sure you can get it on your chip and have all the flavors involved. So we've got the hummus.
We're on 9.
We've got the lamb. We've got the feta.
That's 3.
We've got the tomato.
4.
We've got the cucumber.
Oh, we got 2 more layers left?
Yes.
Holy
so this is just
smoke.
tzatziki sauce, okay?
Store-bought is fine.
Store-bought, yeah. If you want to, you can punch it up with some dill. But no need to
Because?
at the very end, GZ's gonna come over here.
Make it rain.
Yeah, make it rain dill, baby.
Interesting. So the dill is its own layer.
The dill is its own layer. So GZ, if you
Smart.
could, please make it rain.
There it is. Look at Donnie Dills.
Mm-hmm.
You know me and dill.
Yeah. love it.
We love our dill.
I'm obsessed
Finger's gonna
with it,
smell good for
honestly.
the rest of the day. Here you have it.
Oh, party starting
My
now.
7-layer gyro dip, y'all.
Oh, yay!
Have at it.
Great, we get to get in.
Yeah, you can scoop in, get some on your plate if you like, or just family
we're
style
plating
dig
it.
in.
Can I try the lamb?
Yeah.
First of all, it's
Yeah.
very hearty.
It is.
I mean, you eat it and you're not like at the party hungry. So you start with the creamy the hummus and the meat on the bottom is really creamy
Good
and
foundation,
rich.
huh? Thank you.
And then you graduate because the tomatoes are diced. They're juicy. They burst. They're that dividing line, and then you get the creamy dill and the juicy cucumber on top.
Wow.
I love this. This is better than a seven-layer dip. It really
Yes,
is. It's
thank
lighter and it's
you.
just more exciting to eat, honestly.
Today I'm gonna put a little heat on one of my all-time favorite dips, hummus. So the base of the hummus is gonna be chickpeas, and that's what's gonna give it a little bit of body. So first things first, I have 2 cans of chickpeas. As you can see, I'm draining it. We don't wanna get rid of this liquid at the bottom because we're gonna use that a little bit later. Trust me, you don't wanna get rid of it. So you just wanna drain it. And all we're gonna do is add this right to our processor. So get that in. We're gonna add some flavor to this. I'm gonna add some tahini. Now, if you've never used tahini, basically what it is toasted ground sesame, right? Very, very deep and rich in flavor. I'm gonna use some adobo sauce. And basically what this is dried red chilies. And it's gonna give it a little smokiness, but also give it a little heat as well. Add a little bit of cumin to this. Cumin has smoky notes as well. Very rich, aromatic. I'm gonna add some garlic salt. And basically what garlic salt is garlic powder and salt mixed together, but this one has some parsley in it. And that's just gonna take the flavor to the next level. So we're gonna add this in. And by adding this, we don't have to add any salt. All right, so that goes in. I'm gonna add some lemon juice to this as well. That's gonna make it bright and fresh. So remember, always test. If you can't really squeeze it, let you know that the juices really haven't come out yet. So let's go ahead and roll this out. So now you can see the difference, right? Lets me know that those juices are ready to come out of this lemon. So let's go ahead and give this a cut. Remember, we're gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna use my juicer here. If you don't have one, you can just squeeze. Just make sure you keep the seeds out. Let's go ahead and give this a squeeze. So I didn't get as much juice as I wanted out of this half, so I'm gonna use this other half as well. Let's get rid of this lemon here. Get you in and give this a good squeeze. That should be more than enough juice. So I'm gonna add some pepper to this as well. A little bit more. Perfect. So what I want to do at this point, I just want to blend it just a little bit to kind of mix everything up. Let's give it a couple pulses. So remember I said don't get rid of that liquid, right? So this liquid is going to loosen this up a little bit because we're looking for a silky smooth texture to this. So I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm going to eyeball it here. Just a little bit more. Good. So you just want to check it. At this point, what I like to do, I like to take my lid off. I just want to get in here and kind of start checking it out. Give it a little taste. That's good. We need a little bit of fat in here, so I'm going to add some olive oil to this. Right while the blender's going, just add your oil. Perfect. And just let it go. Good, let's check our consistency. It's coming together nice. We got that reserved liquid as a safety to make sure we get the consistency. Still a little thick. I want it to be a little bit thinner than this, so we're gonna add a little bit more liquid. All right, here we go. Just a little bit more. A little bit more of this liquid. That should be perfect. So let's scrape down these sides. Make sure everything gets incorporated. You don't want to see any lumps of that chickpea. Should be nice and smooth. I think about 1 or 2 more pulses and we will be ready to rock and roll. All right, here we go. Final pulse. That's it, my friends. It's time to plate this hummus up. All right, here we go. Get rid of our blade. What I'm looking for with my texture, it should be nice and creamy, but not too thin. And this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. I want it to have some integrity, right? I mean, we're talking about a dip, so it should be hearty enough to, if you stick a chip in here, a pita chip or something like that, you don't want it falling off. It should be able to hold right to that chip. Don't leave any behind now. And what I like to do is just finish it off with a little bit of olive oil. Just for another flavor bomb, I'm gonna add a little bit of chili lime seasoning right on top. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed making this hummus with the kick. I think it's time for us to give this a try. How about we get some chips in here? Let's see. I'm like so excited. See what I was talking about? It should hold right on the end of that chip. That's the consistency you're looking for. The tahini gives it a nice nuttiness. Has a little bit of the kick from the adobo, but that lemon juice just rounds it all out. This is absolutely the perfect dip. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I'll see you next time.
I love a chicken shawarma gyro. Oh my gosh, you know when you go to the Greek restaurants or the Mediterranean restaurants and they have like the chicken shawarma and they're slicing it off that rotating thing. Love it. So I'm gonna make a quick marinade for my chicken shawarma. All right, I got some Greek yogurt here, some minced garlic, juice of half a lemon, have some smoked paprika, some cumin, also earthy, smoky, some coriander, just a little bit of that goes a long way, some turmeric for a little color, and some cardamom. I love the way cardamom smells, it's so aromatic. So I'm gonna use just a pinch of salt and a little olive oil. I'm gonna add my chicken to the marinade. I'm using all white meat breast, and I'm also using thighs. And I like to mix it up. Dark meat to me tends to be a little bit more juicier, a little bit more flavor, and white meat in general is just, you know, really great to grill and cook. All right, so I'm gonna let this marinate in the fridge for at least 2 hours. All right, so I've got my chicken that's been marinating for quite some time now, and I'm just gonna grill it off. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit more salt and a little pepper on my chicken while it's grilling. Okay, some black pepper. So while that grills, I'm gonna make my tzatziki sauce. Now, that is a very simple yogurt, cucumber, and lemon sauce, and I love to add fresh dill to it. So I have a cucumber here that I am going to grate. And I like using English cucumber because you don't have to peel it because the skin is really soft. I'm gonna let the cucumber sit on this towel and soak up some of that water. Now I'm gonna add my Greek yogurt, full fat. I'm gonna add the juice of half of this lemon. I've used a lot of lemon today. I love lemon. Got some garlic, some minced garlic, a little cayenne pepper, a little heat, about a 1/4 teaspoon of that. I'm gonna chop up some fresh dill. I like tons of dill. Give it a rough chop. A few pinches of some salt, a little sugar to help balance out that acidity in here, and a little olive oil. Okay? I've added my grated cucumber and I'm just giving it a mix. Let me flip the chicken. Ooh, pretty. Look at the color. All right, so I'm gonna build my gyro now. Okay, so I have my chicken here. I'm gonna kind of cut it up so it looks like that shaved chicken shawarma you get in the restaurant. Ooh-wee. got my pita, kept it warm in the oven. I've wet a paper towel and I locked it in there with foil so it creates like a steam bath. Keeps it nice and moist. You see that? Beautiful. So what I like to do first is put a little tzatziki sauce down, add some of that chicken. I'm gonna add some sliced red onions, some tomato and some pickle. Oh, look at that. That's a gyro for you. Close it up and roll it. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
So we're gonna make a Greek pita sandwich. Basically, this is like a little bit of a gyro, however you want to say it. This is ground beef.
Okay.
We have some vegetables. So it's basically a hamburger sandwich with yogurt on top. Some crunchy vegetables.
Love it.
Good to me.
We're gonna start with a very simple dressing. Very good olive oil, very cheap red wine vinegar, mustard and honey. Shake, shake, a lot of salt and pepper.
You got it, Holmes.
Okay? Shake that up, and then I just have hamburger meat, 80-20.
Yeah, the good old hamburger meat.
Grated onion. I like the grated onion. It gets in there more. And one ingredient that we cannot be without is cinnamon in our meat or lamb.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, very
Cinnamon.
Greek. Yeah, I like that.
I just love it's
I love a chili with
incredible
a cinnamon
difference.
stick in it.
It's an incredible flavor. Cumin, garlic powder, and some fresh parsley. We're just gonna mix that up. Obviously, salt. A good amount of salt. This really needs to sing. And we're gonna put a pan on a fire. We're gonna get that going. So we could make meatballs with this, or skewer it and grill it if you wanted to.
Kebab.
But I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna
So you're
fry
just
it.
gonna put it right in?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
I love
Well,
this.
we're campfiring, and I like
love
that.
It.
Yeah.
I love it. Because
Here.
usually you think like, oh, I gotta cook those onions first. I gotta do this, that.
It's like the
Great.
chili you make. You throw everything in.
Throw it all together.
I
Remember
smell
that?
that cinnamon in there.
Good,
I
right?
smell that cinnamon. Yeah, it might be like the, what is it, moussaka?
Yep.
I've been saying it wrong my whole life. I've been saying moussaka.
I think it's, depends.
Can you do me another favor, Jeff?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Will you run to the oven? I have some pita that's raw.
Whoa.
Run to the oven. Oh, you're there already. Take the pita out, and would you brush it with oil and a little za'atar?
Yes, za'atar.
Okay.
White sesame seeds, some oregano, some
We love it.
sumac.
And when I hear,
Oh, I just smell the cinnamon.
I made a little whipped feta, garlic, dill, sour cream, like a little tzatziki, but not really.
Do you want them whole, or you want it cut? Oh, you don't want nothing done.
I want you to cut them in half.
Okay.
So
looks
you want to
delicious.
get this cooked. We're not doing like a bolognese. We're not looking for that at all. While that's cooking, we're just gonna make our little vegetable medley. So I have cucumbers finely diced. I have beautiful lettuce. Could be iceberg, it could be celery, whatever you want. Red onions.
You smell the lettuce?
I love the smell of lettuce.
I want to know what it is.
Oh,
Come on now.
What was that?
mint,
Okay.
parsley, dill.
Come on now,
I
GZ.
am gonna
Bring the
love
flavor.
this. I cannot
Sing.
wait.
Okay,
to
shake,
eat
shake,
this.
shake, shake, shake.
I'm ready for it.
And this goes along with your little picnic or your trip to the
How dare you
beach.
call it little?
This is not a little picnic.
This is, yeah. Tell me you've never camped out without
Never.
telling me you've never camped out
I never
by
camped
making
out.
a whipped feta sauce.
And I am never camping out. I'm just telling you right
Brunoise,
now.
cucumbers, and za'atar.
Hey, he said it was a picnic.
That's
I
nice.
love it.
So look at this. So the reason why, what's nice about this is we don't want to get it too brown because that's not the texture you want. You want the texture that you've got. It's almost like a dip.
Fine.
Soft.
Yeah.
Yielding.
It's soft and yielding.
See, I'm lazy. I love this. I would then just hit it with that feta sauce and then the cucumbers over the top and family style serve it. And you have your own pita and just scoop out. He's gonna make beautiful bespoke sandwiches.
I think even if you put all that in there, you wrap it up, maybe put this on the side and just wrap it.
So this is what I do.
Yes.
I put it in the toe first.
Yeah, put it in the
I
jar.
put a little of the crunch on the bottom.
Smart.
I like that. So
Okay.
your good stuff doesn't fall off the top.
And I put the beef here. And then I put a little dollop of this.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. And then you got this.
What's in
Another
your whipped
layer?
feta again, GZ?
That's feta, sour cream, little dill, some garlic.
Okay.
And so that
Could you
is
just
something
use
just
yogurt if you wanted to do
You can
it
use
with
yogurt. Yes, sure. Here you are.
Oh,
Wow.
let's hear it.
Wow.
Well,
And so Jeff did a
Katie,
great job
wow.
of warm.
I want
warm
you to
pita.
have
in
your
there?
experience,
Oh.
but I'll take the next one, GZ,
Okay, you got it, girl.
expeditiously.
Oh, man.
That
that's it.
crunch from all those veggies in there and the creamy feta, that nice tender beef with the cinnamon
And the garlic and the herbs.
It's
and the
unexpected,
onions.
right? The cinnamon with the beef.
It's so good. This is like eyes roll back in your head good. I mean, I kind of just want like a fork and eat it like a big plate of salad.
Dude, we're coming off the rails here, Geoffrey. Look what you've done to everybody here. You've excited
really,
us
really
all.
good, Geoffrey.
Here we are talking about campfires and picnics and everything. Man, I'll eat this breakfast, lunch, dinner. You
Yeah.
at a wedding serve this to me, at a baby shower. I don't care.
A baby
A
shower.
baby shower. This is so good. The meat is delicious. You know, we got a huge waft of the cinnamon, but when you taste it, it's a nice undertone. It's not in your face.
You need more than you think.
Yeah, you need more than you think.
Yeah.
Do what Jeezy, listen, just follow the recipe exactly how Jeezy wants you to.
All about that salad.
The salad crunch at the top, the whipped feta, I'm doing that. I am doing your whipped feta dip.
A shrimp sheet pan pita. So I've got mushrooms, yellow squash, red onion, and asparagus. And I'm drizzling with olive oil. I'm gonna grab salt and pepper. You know the drill. And then I've got some Italian seasoning, which is also kind of like Mediterranean seasoning, depending on what's in it. The bottle actually said Mediterranean/Italian seasoning. So they're not exactly the same, but there's a lot of overlap. All right, and then I'm gonna use tongs just to stir everything together. So I scooted them all over to one side. And now I've got some colossal shrimp, which is actually known as U15 shrimp, meaning there are under 15 shrimp per pound. And spreading them out, and then I'm actually gonna sprinkle just a little bit of salt and pepper on the shrimp. But this is basically the beginning of the recipe. And it's gonna get more interesting from here. A little bit more Mediterranean seasoning. And then let's go get this pan in the oven, Paigey. So this is gonna go in a 425-degree oven for about 15 minutes or so. And when I put these in, I'm also gonna add some pita that I have wrapped in foil, and it's gonna warm at the same time everything else cooks. All right? All right, while the shrimp and veggies finish cooking, I'm gonna make a delicious lemony yogurt sauce for the pitas. So it starts with yogurt, plain Greek yogurt to be exact. All right, so lemon juice and then a whole bunch of lemon zest. This is very lemony. And some fresh dill chopped. So Paige, look at this. Can you wrap your head around this or what? Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. And give it one more stir. And then, you know what time it is, Paige? Let's go get the shrimp and veggies out of the oven. And the pita, we can't forget the pita. All right, check it out. Ooh, that looks so good. And I'm gonna grab the pita bread, which is nice and warm and soft by now. Boy, it smells good in this kitchen. I love food like this, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
Those
Okay.
shrimp are huge.
I have a lot of things going on. Well, it's colossal shrimp. Hello. All right, so I've got some more lemon, and I'm gonna squeeze it over the shrimp and the veggies and stir with tongs. And there's some juice in the bottom of the pan, and that's just perfect because it makes everything just much more delicious and succulent. And then everybody can build their own, and this is how you build it. Woo, warm. So I've got this delicious lemony yogurt sauce. So I'll put a nice, generous quantity in the warm pita, and then a couple of pieces of lettuce and some tomato. Just shove in there as much as you can. And then I'm gonna start with veggies first, and then a couple of these massive shrimp. I've never seen anything like this. They're big and beautiful and shrimpy.
Big, beautiful, and shrimpy.
And then feta. I love the combination of the roasted veggies, the cooked shrimp, the cool feta, and the sliced mixed olives, and then you've got that lemony yogurt down inside.
Mom!
I had two. I'm sorry. Ooh, that is really good. Mmm. Great combination of ingredients. Mmm.
You know, when I think about making a marinade for lamb, or anything actually, I think about what's commonly used with it. I don't need to like reinvent the wheel every time. And when I think of lamb, I think of garlic, rosemary, and maybe some lemon. All kinds of Greek Mediterranean flavors. So I'm going to start with 4 big cloves of garlic. And instead of using the big food processor, I love this little mini chop. Just so convenient. I need 3 tablespoons of fresh rosemary. Unfortunately, I have a lot of it in my garden. Just peel it off the stems. Give it a big chop. There's something about the combination of lamb and rosemary. They just go together. So why fight it? I mean, if you wanted to do lamb and tarragon, the lamb would really sort of overpower the tarragon. But rosemary has that same kind of really like strong flavor that would stand up to it and complement it. My friend Frank's coming over. I know he loves lamb, so that's good. So that should be about 3 good tablespoons of rosemary. You don't have to cut it up so finely because I'm going to chop it up in the mini chop. You need a little oregano, 1½ teaspoons, 1½ teaspoons of salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon of pepper, and just give it a chop. Look how convenient this is. I love this. Sure beats chopping it up by hand. So I'm just going to mix the marinade right in the dish that I'm going to marinate the lamb in. So all of this just goes right in. And then I'm just going to add classic marinade ingredients. So first I have freshly squeezed lemon juice, about 1/2 cup. Really important for it to be fresh. 1/2 cup of olive oil. It's like making a vinaigrette, actually. Lemon juice, olive oil. Just pour it in. And then to add to the flavor, I'm going to add red wine to it. But you know, you really want to make sure it's a really good red wine. This is a good Côte d'Aron. 1/2 cup of red wine. I'm just going to stir these guys together. Just stir all the herbs and the lemon juice. So what I've done is I've taken a rack of lamb and I've asked the butcher to cut it into individual chops. I'm just going to put each one right in the marinade. So this is going to marinate for about at least 2 hours. If I have time to marinate it overnight, that's what I do. So this is 2 racks of lamb, which makes 16 individual chops. I think that's enough for Frank and me. Okay, I'm just going to wrap these up, put it in the fridge, and then I'm going to get the grill all set up. Ready to grill the lamb. It's been marinating in the garlic and rosemary, oregano. Just gonna sprinkle it with salt and pepper just before I put it on the grill. Okay, well, these are gonna cook really fast, like 4 minutes on each side. I've got a grill that has pretty hot coals, but it's just 1 layer. You don't wanna overcook these guys. Whoa! So this is rack of lamb, and if you can only buy a rack of lamb whole and you don't have a butcher, you can just cut it into chops yourself. It's quite easy. It's Frenched, which means that the bones are cleaned off. Where's Geoffrey when I need him? Okay. Hot mitt. Hot fire. Oh, I can really smell the garlic and rosemary, and the lamb's gonna be just delicious. It's gonna be so good with the yogurt and mint sauce. Yum. Because there's so much oil in the marinade, I actually wouldn't pour more marinade on it. Otherwise, you'll have like an inferno. I mean, do these look delicious or what? I think the thinner ones are done. I'm just gonna put them on a platter and then let them rest. I'm gonna cover them with foil, let them rest for about 10 minutes, and then all the juices get back into the lamb. Ooh, these look so delicious. You know, by the time you get the small ones off, the bigger ones are ready, so it's a good system. Boy, that is one gorgeous platter of rack of lamb. Cover it with foil and just let all the juices get back into it. What you want to be sure is don't ever put it back in the marinade, and don't use the marinade as a sauce because it had raw meat in it. Cover it like that. Cover it really securely so it stays hot.
And while that rests, I'm going to get the rest of the meal ready. When I was thinking what kind of sauce would be good with the lamb, I thought classic Greek flavors again. So yogurt, mint. This is going to be delicious. I'm making a mint and yogurt sauce for it. First, I need a half a cup of chopped mint leaves. You know, I'm going to chop up the leaves. I can certainly measure a half a cup of leaves, but it's a whole different measurement when they're chopped leaves. And I think it's much more accurate. And I want the flavors to be exactly the right proportion. Okay, I'm just going to give it a big rough chop and then measure it. So the base of the sauce is yogurt, and then it's got all kinds of things, mint, dill, scallions to give it a little heat. It's going to have lots of flavor, so that should be about half a cup. Right into the food processor. 2 tablespoons of dill. Dill, just run your knife along the stems. The stems of dill are tender, so it doesn't really matter. So I'd say that's about 2 tablespoons chopped dill and 6 scallions. I'm just going to give them a rough chop because they're going to get cut up in the food processor. This is not the place for dried herbs. You want really that fresh sort of zing of fresh herbs. Put it right in. Now for a little heat, just a little pinch of red pepper flakes. Just give it a little punch. A tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to make a paste, which I'm going to add the yogurt to. A little bit of lemon juice, about a tablespoon. We'll squeeze it right in. Okay, nice squeeze of lemon, just give it that fresh lemon hit. And just grind it up into a coarse paste. And that really releases all the fresh herb flavor. So I'm just going to add 7 ounces of yogurt. This is Greek yogurt, of course, since we're making Greek lamb, which is really thick yogurt. A teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of pepper. I think Frank's going to like this for lunch. And just give it a pour. So that's about as easy as the sauce gets, doesn't it? Just want to make sure it tastes great. I love all the green herbs in it. It's just fantastic. It's really tangy from the yogurt, and the mint is so clear, and all the herbs, oh, this is just delicious. It's going to be really good with the lamb. So because it's a really thick sauce, instead of pouring it over the lamb, I'm going to put it under the lamb. I'll show you. I'm just going to put it right down the middle of this plate, and then put the lamb right on top of it. The lamb's resting. When it's done, it's just going to go right down the middle of this platter. Well, how good does this look? Salad's done, the sauce is done. All I have to do is plate up the lamb. So I'm going to put the lamb on with their little legs crossing. Let's see how this goes. Just like that. And just rest them right on the sauce. Oh, they're so juicy. Grill some lamb and a man shows up. Works every time. So it's grilled Greek lamb.
With some fabulous sauce?
It's got a yogurt and mint sauce. So
That's fantastic.
You ready for a little dinner?
I am indeed.
Outside in the garden? What do you think, as long as we're talking about the garden?
That sounds great. Can I?
One more.
One more?
Yeah. Just like that. And maybe a little lemon on the end.
Perfect.
Just in case. Does that
It
look
is
good?
beautiful.
Okay, you take the lamb.
I got it.
I'll take the tomato salad.
Perfect.
We can imagine ourselves in Mykonos.
All right, we're gonna start with the lamb because we need to get the lamb on the fire. Now, I didn't ship this awesome grill from Astoria, Queens for nothing. We're gonna put one on here with live charcoal, and I'm gonna actually put one on the gas grill on the rotisserie there, and we'll see how we can compare them, see how it goes. All right, so we're gonna start by making our marinade, and I'm actually gonna start with some white wine, some fresh lemon juice. We're gonna have a nice sort of heavy garlic flavor here. So what I'm doing here is I'm crushing the garlic, and it's gonna break up the skin so it's easy for the garlic to actually come out of the skin, okay? And we're just gonna pop it right into our blender. Okay, so we have a bunch of garlic in there. Now, rosemary is a very strong herb, but we want that. We want some strong flavors on our lamb, okay? And then we have some fresh oregano. I don't have an oregano bush. I mean, to me, oregano is the most prevalent fresh herb when it comes to Greek food. All right, and then some Greek olive oil. I'm gonna take my zester and zest away. Can't have enough lemon. Some black pepper. Let's blend this up. Okay, so I'm gonna take half of it and marinate the lamb, and then save half of it and baste it while it's cooking. Okay, so this is a butterflied leg of lamb that's boneless. I asked the butcher to take the bone out. I mean, you can roast a leg of lamb with the bone in, but I think for the rotisserie, I don't think you want the bone in because it won't be able to spin on the rotisserie. I'm gonna season this with salt and pepper on both sides. This is a dense piece of meat, so don't be afraid to season it really well. And I'm gonna take my marinade and pour the marinade right over it. And really get the marinade in there. You really want to let this marinade at least for about 8 hours, or, you know, even better, overnight. It's really just gonna soak up all this flavor. After it marinates, I actually want to tie it so that it cooks nice and evenly. Okay, so first of all, just want to make sure it's, you know, nice and uniform. And then we're gonna roll it up like a log, just like that. Okay, I'm gonna start by going underneath it here and then just sort of creating a foundation knot right here. All right, and then we're just gonna, I put my finger in here to create the spacing. There we go, just like that. Okay, that's what you wanna see. Let's get this on the rotisserie. So it's nice right in the middle. Just clamped it on both sides, and now this is gonna spin. Just make sure you keep you know, adding charcoal so that it gets nice and hot. All right, I'm also gonna do one on the gas grill. So again, we're gonna start with the clamps. All right, put this on the gas grill. All right, there we go. Gas, charcoal. New school, old school. Both are the same lamb, so we'll see what happens. So this took about 2 hours to cook. Then we let it rest right on the rotisserie there. Just has a really beautiful crust on the outside from all the basting. And you want to slice this very thinly. This is what I like to do when nobody's looking. So much flavor. Really moist, tender, beautiful. And then we're gonna take our red wine lemon vinaigrette and just pour it right over there for some extra moisture, and it's really gonna bring out the flavor there. You know, what I do is I just rip off a little bit of this pita, grab some lamb. I'm so happy right now because I'm about to eat this. Some of the tzatziki, that might be the perfect plate of food. It's gonna light up your taste buds and you're gonna feel great afterwards. What's better than that? But the coup de grace, or however you say it in Greek, is the lamb.